Hello, this is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chiles, www.superhotchiles.com. Just going to be a quick video on pruning your tomato plants. So why should we prune tomato plants? Well, first of all, if you get too much growth and they're too crowded, you're inviting disease and you're inviting pests. Okay? Plus, when you have a bunch of leaves bushing out at the bottom and branches that are never, ever going to make tomatoes. What good are they? You have the energy of the plant going into them when the plant could be producing more branches with more flowers and more tomatoes. Okay? So, I have pruned these Roma tomato plants. There's 8 of them. And we had a little bit of blossom end rot on the bottom of some of them. I don't know if that's from an insect or just a deficiency. And I cut them off. But, hey dogs, what are you doing? Get out of here. But all these lower branches that you see right here, look at the pile. Look at how big the pile is. None of these had any flowers on them. And as you can see, some of the leaves were starting to get kind of funky, which can be disease. And, some plants, when they get disease, it spreads to the rest of the plant. So it's better to prune off the leaves that are getting crappy looking. Okay? Now, I'm not a tomato expert. I haven't grown tomatoes in years. But the same principle to peppers applies to tomatoes. If you have unwanted growth that's not going to produce peppers on the bottom of the plant, and you have the time, prune off that unwanted growth at the lower part of the plant. That's not going to give you any fruit. There's another reason for doing this. When it's a big bush down here in the bottom of the pots, which it is not now because I've trimmed it off, and you go to water, when you get a lot of water on the leaves, that is inviting bacteria and viruses and pests. So now that the bottoms of my pots are clear, I can just water the soil and not get any water on the leaves and cause a disease issue or a problem. Okay? So it's pretty simple. None of these branches had any flowering or beginning of flowering to produce a tomato. And there's plenty of green growth on these plants to keep these plants going. So now that this has been pruned, over the next few weeks, there'll be new growth that'll happen because the plant can put its energy into new growth. And there'll be new flowering and more flowering. And then that means more tomatoes. And then, like again, I said, when you have a little bit of breathing room where airflow can go through your plants, whether it's peppers or tomatoes, and the leaves don't get wet from you watering, you have less chance of pests and diseases. Okay? So it took me about 15 minutes to prune these leaves off. And we'll come back. Some of these tomatoes should be ripe in a few weeks. And we'll come back and do another video showing you later. I'm going to put some more PVC pipes around the plants, kind of making a makeshift cage. I already tied up the plants that were heavy with fruit. But I'm going to put some more PVC pipes around, just so if the branches kind of flop out, I'll have something else to tie them to. But again, pruning the lower parts that are not going to give you any fruit is worth it. Now this branch here is a lower branch, but as you can see, there's some flowers on it. So I could get a good 4, 5, or 6 tomatoes off of that. So I'm not going to prune that branch off. So if any branches have some flowering, leave them alone. Just prune off the branches that are green, have green growth, and don't look like they're going to put up any flowers. Okay? So, and over here, we'll do a little more discussion on my project over here. These are my potato and sweet potato plants. Some of them, not all of them. And we'll do a little video on that as they progress. All right? So, this is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chiles. www.superhotchiles.com. Take care.